6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey everybody.
How's it going?
It's okay. My case is so awful today that there's a part of me that's like, I don't even want to cover this, except we have to.
I know. We've pulled this a few times.
Important.
Yep. Well, like when the oh, good Lord, the guy who pled yesterday, the Stephen Stearns case, the Maddie Soto case broke. If you guys probably noticed, we hardly covered that case. And the reason why is because at the time that broke, we were covering several other horrific child abuse cases. And we're like, there's only so much our hearts can handle.
Yeah.
And so we didn't really cover Maddie's case that much for that reason, because there was just so many other things. And of course, we did cover it a little heavier towards the end, but yeah. But we'll get there. I know you have some show and tell, however.
I do. Let's talk about Fidget Whimsy for a minute, because that'll be fun.
Okay.
These aren't on the site yet. They're going to be on the site today. However, this is a line of sea creatures that I am so excited about. This is a galaxy whale shark.
Oh, I love it.
Look at the back.
That is perfect. Yes.
Stuff on it. Isn't this? And I'm such a sucker for whale shark stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So then there is a galaxy hammerhead shark.
Oh, I love
There's
them.
The hammerhead.
Mm-hmm.
And a galaxy manta ray.
Oh,
look at that ray.
Okay.
Right?
I love them all. Yeah.
Are they so cute? I have watched this
darling.
designer for a long time, and I finally bit the bullet last week and went, I'm going to follow them. I'm going to have to start selling their stuff because this is so cute. They also have an orca. Now, the orca is not galaxy, and I'm going to be writing them a letter, but the orca is still really cute.
The orca is super cute. Yes.
The orca is very realistic, more realistic than some of the others I've seen. So anyway, new sea creatures coming over at Fidget Whimsy. Also, and I don't have a photo of this, but one of you asked me for a castle, I have a small castle, asked me for a bigger castle for little characters to live in. And so I'm now offering a large castle.
Nice.
And by large, I mean, it's 8 inches tall and 8 inches wide, but it's actually pretty good size. So that's over at Fidget Whimsy. That's available now. And the sea creatures are coming on today, but oh my gosh,
I am in love.
So cute?
They are.
But this idea that they have the Milky Way, reflecting on their backs.
Yes,
is just
it reminds me of Moana.
Thing I can think of. Yes, love them. This designer is from Singapore, and their work is so fun and cool, and just a little different than what I've been doing. So yeah, I am madly in love with these guys, and so watch for them showing up over at Fidget Whimsy today. And if you need a castle, I can make you a castle.
Okay, then. I love it. Well, let's dive into it. So we have a 2-part show today. Kristi's going to cover first the human trafficking event that has happened in Bib County, Alabama.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to talk about a Propublica piece that came out recently about Idaho and a potential murder, as well as our continued to be very problematic coroner system. You guys will be very interested in this case. So I'm going to turn it over to you to kick us off with the human trafficking episode or segment.
Okay. So let me tell you what's been going on in Bib County, Alabama. Police have now released quite a bit more information. This started back in May, but now we know a lot more. In Bibb County, Alabama, they have discovered a human trafficking operation in which children, I don't know if that's North or South Alabama. Good question, Cherish. There's a bunker below this structure that's here on the screen right now. It is the basement of an old house that had been like fortified to be a storm shelter. And there have been actually 4 people, 3 of whom are arrested now, who have been trafficking children, taking them into this bunker, and charging people to come and sexually assault these kids.
God.
These 3 men right here have been arrested now for their involvement. Let me tell you their names and kind of, so Andres Velasquez Trejo, who is 29, he's the guy in the middle. And then there's William Chase McElroy, who is 21, and Dalton Terrell, who is also 21, have now been arrested for the trafficking of at least 6 children between the ages of 3 and 10, and they think this has been going on for more than a year. There is a 4th person who was also indicted. So there was a grand jury indictment regarding this case. There's a 4th person. They have not named them because they haven't been arrested yet. So fingers crossed that they find whoever this hideous person is right away.
Yeah.
There were some kids who reported what had happened to them. And so the police started looking into this. And it absolutely just gets worse the more we learn. And there's still a lot we don't know. But some things that we do know. They started investigating this situation in February. The underground bunker is located in Brent, Alabama. It's about an hour's drive southwest of Birmingham, if that helps for those of you who are familiar. There are multiple suspects that are accused of paying to sexually abuse these children. So these children were, people were coming and paying to enter this bunker. The victims are now actually with child protection now because they are the children of one of these men.
Yep.
And that man was being paid to provide his children for this abuse. McElroy and Terrell, the 2 younger men, are facing multiple charges of first-degree rape, first-degree sodomy, and first-degree human trafficking. McElroy is also charged with multiple counts of first-degree kidnapping. And Velasquez is charged with trafficking. There are also concerns that Velasquez has been selling child sexual abuse material from what was going on in the bunker. They expect entirely for there to be more victims to come forward. There are more offenders that have not yet been identified. MD, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Not a single drag queen in the bunch. Right.
Yep.
No, not a drag queen. Never a drag queen. Oh, Cherish, 3 hours for an ass kicking. Do it.
Right.
Do it. So I think that at this point, we're really starting to see what their investigation has been, but I don't think that it's anywhere near done.
No. Well, no, because they need to find every single one of those motherfuckers that were paying to rape children. Like, are you kidding me?
And they need to go to prison.
They need to go to prison. Yep.
Yeah. So at least the children are in, the children that we know of are in care and being protected. Fingers crossed. Although children going into care doesn't always mean safe children.
No.
They're all being held in the Bibb County jail right now. The Bibb County Sheriff is Jody Wade, and he says such abhorrent behavior will not be tolerated in Bibb County, and the offenders will face prosecution to the fullest extent of the law. Fingers crossed, man.
I would
Because
certainly
we've
hope so.
seen some terrible shit happen, and some people get off with hardly anything.
Mm-hmm. So many times.
One of the things is that they were drugging the children. They were putting a white powder
Yeah.
in something they were drinking. So some of the children don't have a lot of memory of what had happened to them because they were drugged.
Yep.
They were tied either to a bed, a chair, or a pole. There was support beams holding up the ceiling in this place.
And they're just little children, ages 3 to 10.
Yeah.
I
So the men all lived within a mile or less of this bunker and of each other. Let's see. Two of the victims also were, they've found evidence of them performing various sex acts on each other.
Sure.
Because I think there's a whole element of child sexual abuse material that's gone on with this.
Yeah.
This was a multiple income stream business for these assholes.
Yep.
One of the suspects sold children to various clientele for sexual pleasure. So this was something that was going on, at least in the bunker, maybe also outside the bunker. We don't know for sure yet. Many of the kids really don't have a lot of memory because of being drugged. Somehow law enforcement seems to think that's better and they'll have less trauma. I will tell you it is not, and they won't. Not knowing is extremely traumatizing for children.
Yeah, because their subconscious knows and will continue to tell them they're in danger. Yeah.
Yeah. There are allegations of approximately another 12 men who may have paid to have sex with these children. 12. Over and above these 4.
Jesus Christ.
We know of. Yeah. So
I hope they catch every single one of them and put them in prison.
I hope so too. They're struggling because apparently these assholes aren't talking, and the children, because of their hazy memories, don't really have a way to identify the people who assaulted them. So they don't have names for these men, at least not yet.
Where is the mother of these kids?
Right? Where is the mother? And I don't know who the 4th person is. I keep saying he because I'm assuming it's a he. I don't know.
Maybe
they're
it's
waiting
she.
to arrest this other person before they release their name. So there will be at least one more, and then they're looking for 12 other men.
Dear God.
So we will continue to follow this. It's absolutely horrific. I think it's also important, though, to realize is that this is what sex trafficking really looks like.
Right.
This is what sex trafficking in the United States looks like. Complicit family members, people being paid, kids being abused near their homes and returned to their homes. You know, we like to think of it as, oh, they're kidnapped and taken to another country. No, this is actually much more common for what is happening in this country right now. So fingers crossed that the police are going to catch all of them. Also that these people never get out of prison, but we'll see about that. I haven't had a chance today to look up what their potential sentences are for the charges that they're facing. Right. No need for a fancy island.
Yeah.
Just a horrific old basement. Yeah. So anyway, we'll keep you updated on this as more information comes out, but we certainly want the names and faces of all of the people involved in this plastered all over the internet as far as we can go. So don't forget Andres Velasquez Trejo, William Chase McElroy, and Dalton Terrell. May you burn in hell. And with that, Katie, I'm going to kick it back to you for an Idaho.
Okay. This report is based on an article that was published by Propublica last week. Propublica is a nonprofit news organization that particularly reports on corruption and issues within governments. And they have hammered pretty hard on Idaho. It's been great. They have
spanked lately.
Yes, and it has actually caused some change, or at least started some change in some ways. So, Propublica, keep it up. You guys are amazing. Thank you for your hard work, and also keep hitting us. We need it. Yeah. With that being said, I'm going to start back at the beginning of this story and try and lay it out to you chronologically. You'll understand why Propublica did it as I get there. But first, I want to tell you about this sweet lady, Betty. Her name was Betty Brock in 2010. She lived in Florida, and she had made friends with a man online named Clayton Strong. And Clayton had told her that his life was falling apart and he was living in his car and had nowhere to go. And Betty was taking care of her husband that was terminally ill and had made friends with Clayton and told him, you know what, you can come and park on our property and at least have a safe place for your car to live in. So that's what happened. Clayton moved there and was living on the property. And in time, Betty's husband passed. And it didn't take very long, and they were married. They had a quick courthouse wedding. This was all very shocking to Betty's kids. She had 7 adult children, many that lived in the area. And yet she's suddenly married to this strange man. And he almost immediately started alienating her from her kids and doing pretty typical domestic violence-y, red flaggy kinds of things. Ordering the kids off of his property. What? And keeping her really isolated, not liking her to talk to her kids or attend anything, just really isolating her. So then they pull up their money and they buy an Airstream and go on the road for a big supposed honeymoon trip. And her kids are deeply concerned, but, these are her choices. So they get on the road, they go visit a bunch of national parks, they camp, they hike, they pan for gold in Idaho. They just had a blast. And after the honeymoon, the kids said that she was just almost impossible to get a hold of after that. That he kept all of their communication with their mother, and that he had padlocked the doors of that Florida home and held the key, and nobody was allowed to come over there.
What the hell?
So they're back home in Florida for a while, and then sometime by January 2014, they're extremely concerned about their mother. And the police have been over to the house a few times for welfare checks and for domestic violence disturbances, 6 times. And things are bad. And her kids are telling the police that Clayton Strong has threatened to shoot them if they set foot on the property. He's threatened to hurt their mother if they don't back off and leave them alone. They said that he's prevented her from seeing a doctor when they knew she needed to. And they're worried sick. So then and this keeps going on for a couple of years. that the kids are trying to come see her, check on her. He threatens to kill them if they don't leave. It happened more than one time. It's a mess. And the police, there is one incident where they go in to talk to Betty Strong because obviously, there's some things that are wrong here.
Yeah.
They find her alone on a bed in an RV, that there's Jetstream, that's parked behind their home. And she's laying on a bed and says that she has Parkinson's disease and can't get around well. Well, this is news to her kids. They said she'd never been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and they had no idea what that was about. So they just leave her there on that bed and just take her word for it that she's just not getting around well, and that's the problem. She has a walkie-talkie, and the deputy asks her if Clayton's using the walkie-talkie to talk to her, and she says no to the officer while nodding her head yes. It's obvious she's in a really bad situation.
Yeah.
And yet, because she said that she was okay and was not being held there against her will, they leave her. But they are concerned enough that they get a referral to the Florida Department of Children and Families because it is weird, and they didn't try to intervene at the time, but they still feel like things are weird. So an adult protective services worker is trying to go to the house, and she calls the police and says, hey, I need to go over here and check on her, but he's threatened to kill me before. Now we know that Adult Protective Services has tried to intervene before, and he's threatened to kill them.
Whoa.
So they send some backup over there, but Adult Protection doesn't have a lot of clout. They don't actually have any clout. And so while their investigation is open, they load up in the Airstream and take off. And this is sometime in 2015. All right.
Okay.
So her kids never hear from her again. She's just gone. They have no idea where she is, if she's okay, what's going on. They're just completely shut off from her. So then, fast forward to December 2016, Idaho. And this is in Idaho County. Idaho County is very rural. And, sorry, let me get back to... Yeah, so in December 2016, Clayton Strong pulls up to the hospital and says, hey, my wife's deceased in the truck. I need somebody to come take care of her. Just pulls up to the hospital with his dead wife in the car, in his SUV. God. So they call the police, they call the coroner, and they talk to Clayton Strong, and he says that she died from Parkinson's disease. And they ask him, why did you load her up and bring her over here and not just call 911? And he says, oh, I'm just new in town. I don't really know anybody. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do. Okay.
I mean, there's no hey, my wife is not doing well. I need help. It was just she's dead.
She's dead.
Okay, Chad Daybell.
So the coroner helps move her onto a cot to be transported to the funeral home. Yes, you're hearing that correctly. And takes a hard look at her and decides she's very thin and frail, and he figures, she's 75 years old, that this must have just been old age.
Okay, so that makes some sense to me because my mother-in-law died in January. She actually died in the car with my father-in-law and brother-in-law. And they called 911 because they didn't just show up at the hospital, called 911, met the ambulance. The ambulance is working on her, trying to revive her. They take her into the hospital. They try to revive her. Anyway, she's deceased. because they believe that she was actually deceased in the car, that's considered to be an unattended death.
Mm-hmm.
So the coroner has to come to the hospital to determine that what the doctor said is the cause of death is the cause of death before the
Mm-hmm.
body can be released to the funeral home. We actually had to do that with my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
So that's probably why that happened that
Mm-hmm.
way, but
Yeah.
that's not much of an investigation.
That was the whole investigation. He
Oh,
told them that she didn't go to doctors because she liked homeopathic methods, so she wasn't under medical care. And they just send Betty Strong off to the funeral home.
holy shit.
The coroner is this guy by the last name of Funk, who is very new, who has received 24 hours of training in being a coroner. He's in his late 20s. He is an EMT and works at the water treatment plant in town, and this is a part-time gig.
Oh my God.
This town does not have a morgue, and he has in his budget enough money, I believe, for 10 autopsies a year.
Oh, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So,
But in order for the coroner to have signed off on that, so did the emergency room doctor. Because the emergency room doctor makes the determination first, and then the coroner is supposed to come and determine if they make the same determination.
I'm not even sure that she made it into the emergency room.
Wow.
So, they transfer her body to a local funeral home. Clayton Strong goes over there the same day, tells them he just wants her cremated immediately, and pays them. He pulls out a lunch box and pays them $2,300 in cash and $100 bills from the lunchbox.
Whoa.
And then he loads up and he's gone and goes back to Florida. So one of Betty's kids, now remember, they have not talked to Betty in a couple of years, at least 2 or 3 years. It's been quite a while. They have no idea what's going on with her or if she's okay or what. Well, one of the neighbors calls one of her kids and says, or one of her sons, and says, "Hey, looks like your mom's back. The Airstream is back at the house." So he's like, "What the hell?" So he goes to the house and knocks on the door. And he comes to the door and tells his son-in-law to get off the property. And that his mother died in Harpster, Idaho. And again, get out of here or I'll kill you kinds of routines.
Oh my God.
So this is the only notice these kids have that their mother has died. So the daughter, one of the daughters, she starts making some phone calls because she's like, what the hell? So she gets a hold of the county coroner, wants to know why none of them were, alerted. And basically, well, because he's her next of kin. And so,
Well, and it's not like he shared any information.
No.
He's the only person who could have.
Yep. So she tells the coroner about the history of domestic violence and police calls and all the concerns for their mother's safety. And he starts getting uncomfortable because of the terms of this. So he goes back to the police with this. And the prosecutor in the sheriff's office, when they speak to the daughter, they tell her that they've opened a homicide investigation. But the trailer, the death scene, was long gone because he immediately just loaded up and left. Because they led him. Yeah, and the body was immediately cremated. So they said that they wanted to look at it like a homicide, but there's just not much they can do because there's just no evidence. And that was just it. Until he leaves the Florida property. And only 3 months later. And he gets married. Unbelievably.
Oh
he moves on to Texas to his next victim. And he marries this lady right here.
Oh,
Her name
boy.
is Shirley Weatherly. So Shirley also had been taking care of a terminally ill spouse that had died. She's pretty similar to Betty Strong in a lot of ways. She's a mother and a grandmother. She lives in a really rural piece of land out somewhere in Texas. They'd known each other as teenagers in Lubbock, apparently, and so now they're friends again in Weatherford, and they immediately get married. And immediately her kids are very worried because he's isolating her. He won't let the grandkids come over to the house anymore. You can imagine. Your kids live around you. You're widowed. Your kids and grandkids live all in the area. They're at your house all the time, right?
Right.
You probably have grandkids
Right.
over there every weekend. You've got stuff going on. The second she marries Clayton Strong, that all comes to a screeching halt. No one's allowed to come to the house.
Oh my
So, of
God.
course, her kids are very concerned. And so, one of her sons, who is very suspicious about her, does some homework and they find the kids of the First Lady. They managed to get connected.
Oh, okay.
Well, now you have both of these families sharing notes, and now they're terrified because the daughter has told them everything that happened to Betty Strong, at least as far as she knows, and they're really worried about this.
Right.
So, in the meantime, Betty Strong's daughter rents a van and drives across the country to Idaho trying to find some clues about her mother's death. She spends a week in Idaho investigating. She meets with the coroner and the sheriff. She goes to the mining claims that they purchased. She stayed at the RV park where Betty died and talks to the people around there.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who owned the RV park said that they remember that they thought it was Hinky, the death, and that Clayton Strong's reaction was really strange. In the
Mm-hmm.
meantime, the Weatherlys are really, really worried. And when they finally do get an opportunity to talk to their mom, and they tell her what happened to Betty Strong, she says, that's just a grieving family that's just trying to cope by looking for an explanation. And he has a death certificate and it says it's natural causes. So this is just drama, and just really brushes it off. But they're super worried. In the meantime, she gets in a fight with Clayton Strong. And she throws some accusations at him about Betty Strong's death. And he flies into a rage and they have a terrible domestic violence incident. Well, in 2021, she calls the police and says they are splitting up and that he has shoved her while he was moving his stuff out of the house and she's not feeling safe. She tells the police that Clayton Strong has hurt her in the past. And so she wants the police to come and make sure it doesn't happen again so that he can get his stuff out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So an officer comes over and talks to him. Clayton Strong says she's running him off, but he didn't push her. Sure. But the officer stays until Clayton Strong agrees to leave. I mean, remember, both of these women, these were their properties. They were
Right.
never Clayton Strong's properties.
Right.
They belonged to them. So on August 4th, 2021, Strong convinces Weatherly to let him come back home and move back into the house. And 4 days later, her son and grandson come to check on her, and they find her body wrapped in a tarp near the front steps, and she has been shot to death.
Oh my God.
And they find some shell casings for an AK-47 near her. And they have some security footage of Clayton Strong ditching a shopping cart outside of Walmart. The shell casings in a shopping cart outside of Walmart.
Oh, wow.
So they put out a warrant for his arrest, and he is gonzo. And they finally find him in Mexico and
Oh,
arrest
my
him.
God.
And they're trying to charge him with her killing And before they can get him extradited, he dies of a heart attack in jail in Mexico.
Oh my God. I mean, in a way, thank God he can't kill anybody else, but wow.
Oh, wow.
How shocking.
Yeah. Yeah. So, obviously, there's a lot of frustration from both families, but particularly in Shirley Weatherly's family, or Weatherby's family, because had Idaho done its job, he likely wouldn't have been free to do such a thing to their mother.
My God. Just show up to the emergency room with a dead person in your car and they just take your word for it?
Yep. And you just run over to the funeral home and throw some cash at them and just go load up your Airstream and just you're off in the sunset.
God damn, Idaho. Come on.
So ProPublica, a big part of this article, and they did mention the Tammy Daybell incident as well, was talking about how poorly Idaho's coroners are trained and how low the requirements are to be a coroner. Now, we've just had some coroner reform, but it's not much and it's not enough.
Mm-mm.
So I wanted to talk to you, and I know we've talked about the coroner situation here in Idaho several times, because of the Daybell case, but...
Well, and also because of that other ProPublica story about a child who died here in Bonneville County.
Yes.
That was identified, and that ran our current coroner out, and we got a new coroner that's actually head and shoulders above all of these Idaho coroners in qualifications. She has tons more than the state requires.
Yeah. Well, right, but they're also using her as a liaison for other coroners that don't have enough experience to help.
Oh yeah, there's a shit ton of pressure on her, and she's still not a doctor.
No. So here's what it takes to be a coroner in Idaho. You got to be 21. You have to have resided in the county for at least a year. You are going to have to pony up a $40 filing fee to run, because it is an elected position.
Holy shit.
They like for you to have an EMT, but you technically don't have to have one. Your election is every 4 years, the general election in your county. Now, if you're a newly elected or appointed coroner, you have to attend a coroner's school within 1 year of training, sponsored or endorsed by the Idaho State Association of County Coroners. And that is depending on not depending on your county, but that's a minimum of 24 hours of training.
24 hours?
Yep. Now, we have a new bill, Senate Bill 101, that's just coming into effect, that's going to standardize guidelines for coroners' procedures, that is going to make training. The training was just a suggestion.
Yeah, it wasn't even required.
No, it was just a suggestion. Now it's actually mandatory. So they've upped the training by a little bit, but not a lot. And now there are specific circumstances in which you would be expected to conduct an autopsy. The problem with it is a lot of these counties aren't allotting very much money to the coroner to be able to pay for such things.
No.
They're basically saying,
budget.
Yeah, so they're like, here's your budget, do your best. Yeah. So
we only have one crime lab in this whole state.
Yeah.
So all autopsies have to go to Ada County, which is insane.
So now they're just having to decide, is this one worth it? Is this one worth it? When my brother-in-law died last year and he was unattended, he was dead for several days before they found him. And our family did expect that they'd do an autopsy because what the hell? And they did not. Eventually they decided that they really just needed a blood test, and that was all. There was no autopsy.
His case is still open, is it not?
Well, who knows? We're not privy to such information. I could do a FOIA from Bonneville County, but it was fentanyl. It was fentanyl. But still, no autopsy on that one. Guy lays dead, unattended. There's some weird phone calls to the through the 911 system that keep trying to point people, the cops over to his trailer until they finally find him. No, they said it wasn't worth it to do an autopsy. And unfortunately, that's what we're finding in a lot of cases. It's not worth it. And what they mean when they say it's not worth it is literally that. It's fiscally not worth it to us to do.
And that's all that matters in Idaho. It's just money.
Yep.
Idaho doesn't give a shit about people.
No. Recently, a national magazine called Idaho the best place in the nation for a criminal to get away with murder.
Facts.
Because of our antiquated county coroner system.
Yeah.
In 2024, a watchdog report by the Office of Performance Evaluations found deaths in Idaho were half as likely to undergo autopsies than the national rate. Half! And Idaho has the lowest homicide autopsy rate in the nation.
And you think about all of the nationally reported homicides we have had in the last 5 years in this state.
Yep.
How many more have there been that didn't even get determined to be homicides?
Yeah.
My God.
How many Betty Strongs are there? It was almost Tammy Daybell, too.
Sad.
How many?
For the families of both of those women, my God.
Yep.
And you consider an older woman, widowed, has money because they're widowed, very vulnerable, having gone through a terrible loss.
Yep.
Some grifter like that asshole would.
Yep.
I wonder if it's only been these two.
Right. That was my thought. Where was Clayton Strong before Betty Strong?
Yeah.
How many women has he actually victimized? Because if there were two, there were probably more. Yeah.
I would imagine.
So,
God almighty, that's hideous.
Huge props to ProPublica for making this story public. Idahoans particularly, and any other state who has these ridiculous laws, because I know some of you guys' coroner laws aren't very much better than ours. However, we're one of the very worst in the nation. But, well, first of all, Betty Strong's name deserves to be said. So does Shirley's. I mean, these women were murdered. Yep. There never was any evidence that Betty Strong had Parkinson's disease, by the way. They didn't investigate it and, check with her doctor or anything, but there was never any evidence.
I cannot believe they didn't at least do that.
Yeah.
Like with my mother-in-law, who had life-saving action by the emergency room. They still confirmed that she was, in fact, a heart patient and had documented heart problems, and which she did. I mean, she had a long history of heart issues, but they did actually check.
Yeah.
Like all of that stuff kind of went through me because I kind of took on that when we were in the emergency room because Rhonda and her dad and brothers were so shocked. It all happened really fast. And I talked to the hospital social worker, and the doctor, the ER doctor, had confirmed, because she'd been a patient at that hospital multiple times, had confirmed through her medical records with the hospital that, oh yes, long history of AFib, and I believe she had congestive heart failure too, and a lot of stuff. So it made sense that yes, she died of a heart event.
Yeah.
But they didn't have any history, nothing to even confirm that the Parkinson's, that she even had Parkinson's.
The brief conversation at the hospital is the only investigation that was done.
And they just bought it. My God. Although, honestly, people are very naive here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shockingly naive. And not just in a little tiny rural hospital. That doesn't even surprise me.
He doesn't even have an office. His files are stored at home. When he first took this job, they didn't even have a vehicle. Oh, he was transporting bodies in his personal vehicle.
Oh my God. I know that's one other thing that they did in Idaho is they increased the salary for coroner. Because
they did do that.
So often these coroners have two jobs because it's not enough. They're not getting paid enough and they don't have enough work that
Yeah.
they're also doing something else too. And
Mhm.
so they did increase the salary of the Idaho coroners to try to
Mhm.
make it so that they were dedicated
Yeah.
to,
They're
they could
slowly
do a
trying to
single
make it
job.
better, but I I think they've got not nearly far enough. But
No,
the
not at all.
cheapness of this really smacks, especially considering that Idaho runs in the black every year by quite a bit.
Oh yeah, Idaho's
It's not
got
that we
money.
can't afford to do better. It's not that at all.
No,
We're
this
choosing
state
not
runs
to.
with a surplus always
Mm-hmm.
because it won't spend any of its money on its citizens.
Mm-hmm.
Instead give up real nice government contracts to people to fix roads or whatever.
Yeah.
Literally, they prioritize roads and construction in this state much higher than human beings.
Oh yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. So, I just thought that was a story that you guys would find interesting, and also just, I wanted to give these
Sandy's
ladies,
obviously just
she,
beside herself.
she's had it. Yep. Yes. Right. They do need a true crimer to be the coroner,
I know. I'm
right?
like, do we need to run?
Oh,
You want to
God,
run
no.
for coroner? I like ours. We're good.
Yeah, you're set. And me? No. No, I don't. Terrible. Anyway, so that's what I've got. So this case probably won't have a follow-up, though we'll always be keeping an eye on the coroner situation in Idaho. But there's no follow-up to do other than that. But obviously with Bibb County, we'll be keeping an eye on that.
Yeah.
So tomorrow is the Koberger sentencing. It starts at 9 a.m. We will be streaming it at True Crime Trials page.
Yes.
It's also Jeremy Best's sentencing tomorrow.
Yes.
At the same time. We don't know if that's when's going to be streamed. That whole case has been sealed.
Is supposed to take 3 days.
Why?
Well, there's going to be a lot of mitigation, as well as victim impact statements. But yes, there's the defense is bringing in mitigation because of his mental health issues and stuff.
Yeah.
But so it's actually scheduled to be 3 days long.
Wow, that's wild. Okay, well, we'll probably keep an eye on it then and probably won't stream it. I don't think it'll be streamed. They have kept that case under lock and key. Illegally, but nobody sued them about it, so they've got away with it. But however, then Friday, of course, is Lori's sentencing in Florida, in Arizona, and we will be streaming that as well. So, and case updates tomorrow night. So we still have a lot going on this week in True Crime Land.
Week that
it is
all
a
of
crazy
these
week.
Cases are wrapping up in the same week is wild.
Well, and I've bypassed other things that I really wanted to report on because I had these things that I really wanted to report on.
I know, it's been too much. I know there's that honor killing trail you all have asked us about, but we haven't had any time or energy to even put into it with everything else we've had.
Not at all.
Lori's
Hopefully
hearing
we can hit it on Thursday.
I have it down as 9, but I don't know because it's Arizona. So,
well, if it's 9 in Arizona, it'll be 10 hour time.
10 here.
And then if they do it the same as they did, and I think they are, there'll be a 5-minute delay.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case. But I don't know. We'll keep you posted on the time on that because that still seems kind of early for that judge's court.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wasn't starting until 10 his time.
Right.
Pretty much all the time. So we'll see.
Yeah. So that's what we've got. So you guys go take care of yourselves. We dumped an awful lot on you today.
Yeah, we did.
We'll keep fighting for something better for kids in this country and refusing to normalize pedophilia. And we'll continue 100%. To keep pressure on our municipalities to take better care of us when it comes to things like coroners.
Yeah. We pay for all of this, Idahoans. Do you like what you're paying for?
Oh, God, no. Not at all. Yeah. Alrighty, guys. We'll see you soon. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.
Season 6. 6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.